Hello, my name is Connor Carter, and this is about the journey that I, and indeed so many other children throughout the world have gone through. That is the journey of premature birth. In this documentary, I will include many facts, statistics, and medical knowledge when it comes to what premature babies go through. I hope this will help you gain a better understanding of what they go through in their battle for survival. Also, I will include an interview with my own mother and go in depth about the trials and tribulations she faced when it came to the circumstances of my own birth.
60,000 babies are born prematurely in the UK every year, and a baby is considered premature if it is born prior to 37 weeks. Premature birth is the leading cause of death amongst newborns and the second leading cause of death amongst children under the age of 5. Science classifies premature birth under 3 categories: prior to 28 weeks, extremely premature, 28 to 32 weeks, very premature, from 32 to 37 weeks, moderately premature. The preterm birth rate in the UK is between 7 and 8%, ranking the UK 134th out of 184 countries for preterm birth in the world. This is higher than most European countries and higher than Cuba, Ecuador and Iraq. One more uplifting piece of information is that the survival rate of premature babies has increased from 53% in 2006 to nearly 80% as of 2011. This is demonstrated by the pie charts on the screen. I am now going to inform you on some medication and medical procedures which are used to aid premature babies. Depending on your baby's condition, medication may include oxygen to aid in breathing and heart rate, or antibiotics if infection is present or if there is a risk of possible infection. Premature babies are often placed in incubators, providing the optimal environment for improving their health. We will now hand you over to a mother who had a rather traumatising experience with her son's birth almost 21 years ago.
Can you tell us what the doctor's diagnosis was of your son when he was born?
Well, he was taken away quickly and weighed. He was only weighing £1.7 and he was transferred straight to the neonatal unit where he was put in an incubator and was attached to machines which provided oxygen, etc. for him. So he wasn't doing any breathing on his own. There was no diagnosis at that point. I mean, he was just extremely premature. He was not breathing for himself, so he was fighting for his life, basically. After 5 days, his stomach distended, and the doctors took us in and told us that they suspected he had a problem with his bowel, called neck, which is quite a common problem with preemie babies. And he was taken by ambulance flashing blue lights across the city to the sick kids, where we were asked to say our goodbyes to him whilst he was taken in to be operated on. They did not expect Connor to survive. He did, and within a couple of days he was transferred back to Simpsons, where he still wasn't looking like a normal baby. He still wasn't progressing very well because he had a problem at his heart, in that when babies are born, this flap at their heart closes. It's to do with the mum doing the breathing for them when they're in the womb. It didn't close, therefore Connor, we couldn't get the medication because he just had this operation where it discovered that he had a perforation in his stomach. It wasn't his bowel. So we had to wait another few weeks. Then he got the operation. He got the medication to close the valve at his heart. It didn't work. They tried it again, it didn't work. So they said, "Rep, you're going back to sick kids for another operation to close the valve at his heart." So it was only after that operation that he really began to progress, and so he was on ventilation for about 8 weeks, which was quite a long time. So as a result, he had chronic lung disease, because although the ventilator was keeping him alive, it damages the lungs. He finally was released from hospital at 12 weeks. When he was weighing £5.
So what was your emotional state during this? How did it make you feel?
It was initially, I don't think it really sunk in. I mean, although I wasn't I'm a very young mother, I had this assumption that when premature babies were born, they were stuck in an incubator like the tomatoes stuck in a greenhouse, and they're kept nice and warm and they just grow, and I had no idea of all the complications and things that could go wrong. But I mean, Connor seemed to, they reckon Connor had read the book on preemie babies because he was doing everything that could go wrong. So yeah, it was hard. I mean, it got to the point where you felt that you visited this baby in the hospital that didn't belong to you, it belonged to the hospital. I'd missed out on all that, the natural, normal, happy times that people have when they give birth. Missed out on having a natural birth, missed out on feeding them naturally, so it was really hard. But in a way you just have to keep going because you had no option, because you had this baby depending on you that was lying in hospital.
So at what time did you start seeing improvements, and what were those? What happened?
It was really, well, the big improvement was after his second operation, when he began to look like a baby. But prior to that, he looked like E.T. He was brown and he looked like a wee skint rabbit. And then when the second operation was complete, he began to look like a pink and white, like kind of normal baby, and he started to put weight on. So, and then obviously when we brought him home, we saw improvements, and then a month later, Connor took a virus and we were back in sick kids. But that was pretty much the pattern for the first few years of his life. It was, he'd make progress and then he would take a step back again. It was like a roller coaster.
So just to finish up, is there anything you would like to tell anyone, just any general information about premature babies or what premature mums go through, or is there any advice you would like to give to any mums out there who are going through?
I think people are more aware nowadays what it's like for people who have premature babies. There's a big campaign on just now because an MP went through this, or somebody, an MSP or an MP. So basically, one of the biggest problems we had was that my maternity leave had kicked in from the minute Connor was born. So for the first 12 weeks when he was in hospital, you only get 16 weeks maternity pay. For the first 12 weeks Connor was in hospital. By the time Connor came home, I only had 4 weeks maternity pay left. So that put us under a lot of pressure. So they're looking to change that rule, and that maternity pay will not start until the baby comes home from hospital. Also, you need a lot of support. You need a lot of support from your family and friends, emotional support, because you're going through a really difficult time. One day we would make good news on Connor, the next day it would be bad. The simplest of things were like big milestones. The simplest of things like the fact that, if you could pass a bowel movement, if you could do a pee, I mean, things that are just normal, they were major things. So yeah, you need a lot of support.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I hope this documentary has given you a better perspective on what premature babies face when they come into the world. I am proud to have shown you that while premature babies may be small, they are indeed strong.